Hello. We are doing a presentation today. This is actually based on a PowerPoint presentation, a live presentation I did at the Amazing.com Summit. This was actually something that I did last month, and I should have recorded this. Just want to make sure we are actually recording. Then I can go to presentation mode. This is my super fancy, fantastic PowerPoint presentation and my super fancy, fantastic computer recording skills. I'll tell you right now, just to kind of get it out there, that I am not known for my fancy computer skills or PowerPoint presentations, but the presentation was a success in my opinion and based on the feedback that we got from the audience. So I'm going to I promised everybody in the audience that I would record this as an official training video because the content was really good, but it was a 20-minute presentation. I think I actually got it done in under 20 minutes, which is really impressive for me because I'm fairly long-winded and I like to talk a lot and digress like I'm doing right now. So I promised, and this was weeks ago, so I finally made time and I got around to it. I said I'm going to dedicate an hour and go through this, take a little bit more time. If it's a little bit less than an hour, fine. But give yourself an hour realistically and we'll see how long this goes. One issue that I had with doing it in a live audience, there was about 1,500 people there, and I'll show you a couple pictures of that. It was pretty fun. This was in Las Vegas, and in 20 minutes trying to cover all the different steps from a PowerPoint presentation without a live demo is very difficult. So there's a couple things I'm actually going to show you live, and I will tab out of the PowerPoint and go over to Seller Central and show you how to set up certain things and then show you in MailChimp how we actually do some of the other things. Okay, so this basic presentation is how to launch and rank products on Amazon without spending a fortune. And, you know, I kind of made the joke that I am a cheap bastard. I don't like wasting money. I don't even really like spending money, you know. It's just hard for me to spend a lot of money, and that's something I'm working on. So I don't like to spend a lot of money. So we've tried a lot of different product launch strategies. Everything from, you know, friends and family getting the initial reviews to, you know, when it was allowed, incentivizing reviews and doing different launch blast website deal sites, you name it. If it existed, we've probably tried it. And this, after more than 3 years of selling on Amazon, this is kind of the strategy that we've developed that works most of the time. So let's jump right into it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. I just want to tell a quick story for those of you that think that you might feel a little intimidated about starting an Amazon business. I can relate with you on that. I just want to let you know, and I actually changed this PowerPoint after the presentation in Vegas. I wish I used this picture live because it dawned on me that I should tell the story, but I didn't have enough time on stage. So now that I'm recording this and you are my captive audience, I can take as long as I want. Basically, what I want to tell about this ridiculous picture is Chelsea looks gorgeous, by the way, but I look like a total goofball. Yes, I am Magnum PI. This was a photo taken in October, right? Because Halloween, October 31st of 2012, if I remember correctly. And the reason I chose this photo is because that shirt and that baseball cap was the very first Amazon purchase I ever made. So before starting this business in May of 2014, that was the entirety of my Amazon history. I kind of made fun of myself back then. I do not do a lot of online shopping, especially before this business. I had zero background in e-commerce, never sold a thing online, never used eBay. Actually, I did use eBay a couple of times to buy car parts or motorcycle parts, but I never used Amazon. So my only Amazon experience, selling or buying, customer or seller, before starting this business was buying this Magnum PI costume in 2012. And a whole, more than a year went by before we started our business. And I looked at my purchase history. Now, Chelsea had a little bit more of a background as a shopper, not much, but neither of us had a background in e-commerce. And now we're doing over 7 figures a year and growing. And we are what most people would consider successful. We are living a wonderful lifestyle. We have plenty of time. We get to create our own, very balanced lifestyle. We spend a lot of time working with our church and helping other people. We do videos like this and coaching from stage and stuff like that. I used to be a business consultant. My background is pretty much all blue collar, and then I started doing business consulting for auto shops. So I didn't go to college. I don't have a formal education. Um, Chelsea did go to college, but both of us kind of grew up in lower middle income families, and this is, I won't say rags to riches, but definitely like lower middle class to successful story. So if you think that you don't have what it takes, you're wrong. Really, all you need to do to be successful in this business, in my opinion, is to have a strong will to succeed and to be coachable and don't give up. All right, so that's that. And yes, by the way, that is a real mustache. I grew that out for 2 months and then I shaved off my goatee, and people were like, oh my gosh, that looks so real. I said, yeah, I dedicated myself to this costume, and I actually won. We had a little costume party at our office, my old job, the auto repair shop business. I won $150 in a Halloween costume contest. So that was kind of fun. All right, so this is just a snapshot from the presentation, the original presentation I gave from stage at Amazing.com Summit last month in July of 2017 in Las Vegas. And as you can see, this does not do the audience justice. There's about 2,000, between 1,500 and 2,000 people. If I could pan my selfie, left to right, you'd see there's a lot of people there. It was a lot of fun, and we had a great time. So the strategy that I'm going to teach you about is how one of the ways that we doubled our business last year. As you can see by this graph, last year we did over $1 million in sales, and a lot of that came in the last quarter. We launched a couple of products around October, just before Christmas, which is a really good time to launch products. Excuse me. And we launched those last two products using this strategy. So before we get into the actual strategy, a couple of points like groundwork, foundational type stuff I want to really talk about, or at least make very, kind of punch this up, is like, you have to have a goal. And a lot of times in business, people don't set their goal. In fact, I was just browsing through a Facebook group today, and someone tagged me in a question about, hey, they listed off like 10 or 15 different products that they're potentially going to sell. And they go, which one of these would you recommend launching? And it's like, you have to have a goal for what you're trying to accomplish in business before you just set out there and try to throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. So I like to talk about the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? Now, we're not talking about astrophysics or any of these like, wormhole type thing. I'm just, generally the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? To get from point A to point B, that's a straight line. Now, you can't get to point B if you don't know what point B is. And a lot of times, it sounds silly for me to say that, but a lot of times people don't really clarify where they're trying to get to. So, I'm a runner, I like to run. I always map out in my mind at least, or I'll look at a Google map or something, what route am I going to take today? How many miles do I want to run? What's the route I'm going to take getting from point A to point B? Even if it's a big loop. My point that I'm trying to make, know where you're going before you just start doing anything. Okay? So your point B, your goal for the purpose of this training, you need to have a goal for this, is to get to the top of page 1 for your main keyword or keywords. And then it's to stay there. You always need to set new goals. So your first goal is to get to the top of page 1 for your main keywords, at least onto page 1, because that's where 90% of the traffic happens for keywords, is on page 1, and then to stay there. So let's jump into that. Amazon is simple, not easy. So a lot of times people get into this business and they get overwhelmed by what I call analysis paralysis. And that's because a couple of different reasons. Either A, they treat it like a hobby. They don't treat it like a business. So they're sloppy. They don't put in enough time. They treat it like something they just do on the weekends, or a few minutes here and there throughout the day. And I'll tell you, if you're going to treat this business like a hobby, you're probably going to get hobby results. And if you're anything like me, I quit a lot of things growing up and before this business. And this was the one thing that my wife and I decided we're not going to quit. We're just going to do this until it works. We've tried other businesses, multi-level marketing, little startup companies, partnering up with other people, and we failed a lot before starting this business. So Amazon is an amazing opportunity. I'm not going to talk about the opportunity, but it is very simple. So the stuff we're going to talk about today is not complicated. It might sound complicated if you've never done it, but like anything, you have to practice to get good at something. Just because something is simple doesn't mean it seems simple when you've never done it before. You know, uh, riding a motorcycle to me is simple because I've done it a million times. I've ridden motorcycles for 20 plus years, and I can jump on pretty much any bike and ride it. Working on an engine to me is relatively simple because I like that stuff. But you open the hood of a car, for most people, they look at this massive engine parts and hoses and vacuum tubes and wiring, and it's a mess. It's not simple. Amazon is simple, but it does take work. So what I want to help you focus on is the basics. Avoid the shiny objects. Shiny objects are like fancy software that costs a lot of money. All these hacks and tricks and different things, once you start making money in this business, you're going to be bombarded with email marketing and all kinds of stuff about do my hack and it's going to, shortcut all the hard work. And 90% of that stuff is bullshit, pardon my French. It's not that it doesn't work. I'm not trying to knock any of that software. We use some of the software ourselves, but it's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of the basic stuff, and then the other 20% is going to come from all the other 80% of the tools and the hacks and the tips that you're going to get. Focus on the 80-20. Focus on the basics. All right, let's jump into management by statistics. You guys, numbers don't lie. In doing this business, we found out the hard way that it's not all about the gross sales. You got to track your revenue and your profit margins and everything. But if you just run your business off of sales and you're not looking at your traffic, which is the sessions, and for those of you that are brand new, a session is basically a click on your listing. How many times someone clicks and looks at your product on Amazon? Those are sessions. Sales are a result of traffic and conversion. So traffic is people clicking, conversion is people buying after they've looked at it. You want to track those two statistics at least minimally on a weekly basis per product. I actually track it on a daily basis because I'm a little bit of a nut that way and I want to see if there's a problem before we go a whole week. I find out a week later, wow, our traffic dropped for a whole week on that product. I want to know the day that it happens, or our conversion rate dropped. So your conversion rate goal is a minimum of 15% or higher. I'm bringing up this stuff because, well, I'll get back to that in a second. When your sales go down, it's because one of those two reasons, either low traffic or low conversion. Now, this is the main point. Sales are a result of traffic and conversion. Never manage your business on sales alone. If all you did is log in, you get the little app on your phone, you log into Seller Central, you look at how many sales you're making today versus yesterday, and you're not looking at, dollars and profit and traffic and conversion and different things that lead to sales, you're going to drive yourself absolutely insane. So let's look at what that actually looks like. So here is a snapshot from inside of Seller Central. If you go to business reports, so you log into Seller Central, and I shouldn't have to explain this because I have another video on how to use Seller Central, but in case this is the first video you're watching, go to badassbusinessbuilders.org. That's our website. Log in, create a login if you don't have it. It's free, and there's a bunch of basic videos. We don't really have modules, but this is down into the marketing on Amazon. So if you've never looked at that, go look at our basic videos. But log into Seller Central. There's tabs across the top of Seller Central. One of them says advertising. One of them says reports. If you click that, there's a drop-down menu. One of those reports is business reports, and then you can select different types of business reports. And I choose detail page, sales, and traffic. And I usually do it by child item because we have parent-child variations. Um, and all the point that I'm trying to make here, I hope you can see my mouse in the video here because I'm recording the screen, is unit session percentage. Now on the actual report, there's a little thing you can click here and a menu pops up and you can check, or uncheck which stats you want to look at. So I only look at these four. I look at the number of sessions, that's my traffic, the buy box percentage, okay, number of units ordered and session percentage. And I actually usually have the sales dollar amount in there as well. Buy box percentage, I just want to see to make sure we're not being hijacked. If it drops below 90%, then that means someone else is selling our product, and that will prompt us to go look at that listing. Units ordered is really just volume of units ordered. But really the most important two to look at are sessions and unit percentage. If I track this on a daily basis per product, I can tell if a product is starting to fall or drop in the rankings or something bad is happening, whether it's less traffic, less clicks, or less conversion rate. So if I have anything under 15%, like in this red box, I will go, hey, there's something wrong. And normally they'd have the ASIN number here. And I would go click on that, and then I could actually check out the listing and start analyzing why. So the reason I talk about all this stuff, you're like, what about launching products? We're a few minutes in, probably 10 minutes into the video, you haven't even talked about launching products. Because launching a product or driving traffic, which is what we're ultimately going to talk about, why would you want to drive traffic to a listing that has a poor conversion rate? If you're not tracking these numbers, you don't know how your listing is performing. And paying money to drive traffic, whether it's through a deep discount, a product launch, a Facebook ad, Google ads, or Amazon sponsored ads, pay per click, PPC as it's normally referred to. Any type of advertising to drive traffic to your listing costs you money, doesn't it? It's going to cost you money in discounts or in ad clicks. Why would you spend money to drive traffic to a listing that doesn't convert? It makes no sense, but people do it all the time, and it's one of the things that drives me nuts about this business is people don't, not people in general, but sometimes beginners, they get so caught up in this shiny object syndrome that they forget the basics, traffic and conversion. I use the analogy of an Italian restaurant, right? If you were opening a new restaurant, and we were in Vegas when I gave the presentation, so imagine you go open this beautiful Italian restaurant and you pay all this money for premium real estate right there on Las Vegas Boulevard, the Strip. And that costs a lot more money if you want to be on that high traffic, high foot traffic street, right? So your rent, your lease is really, really high. Everything costs a lot of money. And then you pay all this money for advertising to drive people in the door, and your food sucks. So your conversion rate on the actual menu sucks because people eat the food, they go, ugh, I don't like this. And then they don't come back. That's essentially like having a poor performing listing and driving traffic to that. You're not going to solve conversion rate issues, which is a poor performing listing, by driving traffic. So we've got plenty of more training on our website about how to increase your listing optimization and all that. I just want to really make that point. All right. So here is an outline of our current strategy, then I'll go through it more specifically. Step number one is we're going to optimize the listing the best you can, right? Everything I've been talking about so far is leading up to optimize your listing before you do anything. So you optimize it with sexy photos, really good keyword research, good ad copy. Chelsea did this brilliant presentation on bullet points and ad copy. Watch that video. Do all that stuff before you sell even one unit. And really what I mean by that is before you start marketing, before you launch the product. Obviously, if you sell a few units organically or to friends and family as you're optimizing your listing, that's fine. But don't go pay for advertising or pay for a fancy product launch. Especially don't go pay for some launch service to go send out a bunch of inventory for you before you've optimized your listing. That would just be stupid. All right, number two, after we've optimized the listing as best we can, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to offer it on Amazon at a full price, a good sale price, based on market value. Now, we would usually send them to either a direct link right to the product, or we'll usually use what's called a two-step super URL, and I'll show you. There's a super URL video actually, so I'm not going to show you in this video, but you can go scroll through our other videos, and if you don't know what a super URL is, it's basically where it tricks Amazon into thinking that someone searched for your product using a keyword, but you're actually giving them a link to go directly to your product. It's not a simple link like this one. It would actually have a reference and a bunch of search terms and different things like that. So that is a lot more effective, but there's certain super URLs that work nowadays and certain ones that don't work because they're time stamped and Amazon knows and whatever. So I have a whole thing on storefront super URL. So we'll usually use that storefront super URL. I will generally offer a new product at 70% off with a group promotion with a multi-blast launch, and I'll explain what that means, to move enough units to rank and get the initial reviews, okay? And I'll explain what that means. Once we're ranking, then we turn on Amazon pay-per-click, PPC, sponsored ads, and then we let organic momentum and good customer service take over. So let's go through that strategy. By the way, there's just a couple of our most recent products that we launched and using that strategy, and one of them is blue and one of them is red. You can tell that, you know, starting off, these are pretty much all daily trickling out, what do you call it? These initial discounted promos through using the strategy, and then as you can see, after about a week or so, it started picking up organic momentum, and over months, this thing, each product listing just grew, and it's really good. So you don't have to make it complicated. It's actually not. So let's go through step by step how to do this. Number one, we're going to create. I'm going to just tell you exactly what I do. I start everyone with a 70% discount. And I'll explain what that means. And actually, this is a good point to tab out of this presentation and go to Amazon Seller Central so I can walk you through it. But just the bullet points, we're going to create a group promo. It's going to be one redemption per customer. It's going to be an exclusive promotion and display text on. So let me show you what that means. I'm going to escape and then I'm going to tab over, if I can, to Google Chrome. So let's walk you through it. So we're going to create a new percentage off coupon. All right, so now I'm not going to do a whole training on how to use this. Let me just get rid of this little guy because it's annoying. All right, so if you've done any type of study course about how to sell on Amazon, whether it's Amazing Selling Machine or Brand Builder Bootcamp or any of the courses out there, they tell you all about that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you know, we're going to choose. You have to purchase one product minimum. You're going to select a product that you want. So in this case, we'll say it's our spirulina product or whatever, and we're going to choose a percentage off. So let's say it's 70% off, and we don't do anything else. That's it. Okay. We choose an end date. Usually, I'll give it a couple of weeks. So right now it's the 16th of August. So I would just arbitrarily choose the end of the month because why not? I think I can move 100 units in a couple weeks. I don't want my product launch to take more than a week. But just to be safe, I'm going to let it go till the end of the month. So usually 2 weeks. We'll call this, let's say we're not doing spirulina. Let's say we're doing another product. Let's say this is our dog leash launch 70% off, and then I'll usually put the date in there, right? So that's our internal description so that when I'm tracking this promo, this promotion, I know what it is, okay? And I will copy that, and I'll also just paste it here because this means nothing to me. So those are usually the same. Okay, so now let's talk about how to set up the code. So we're going to set this up as a group code. What that means is that more than one person can use the same promo code. So this promo code right here is going to become active in 4 hours once I click the submit button. And I'm going to give you a couple little tips on that. Group promo code means that it's offered to everybody, okay? Now, one redemption per customer, that means someone cannot use this same promo code over and over again with the same seller account. All right. This is an exclusive code. That means that nobody can combine that promo with any other promos you have running. So if you have another promo that's like 50% off all of my products, blah, 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 I'm running a special on Facebook. If someone on Facebook grabbed that promo code and then this promo code, they couldn't add them together and get 100% off. I've learned that lesson the hard way. I'm not going to tell you that story right now, but long story short, we lost thousands of dollars of inventory because we didn't set it up as exclusive. And there was someone who was a seller and they found that. They probably had some kind of software that could phish the internet, and they found two promo codes that we were offering simultaneously. I forgot to mark one of them as exclusive, and they were combined, and they got 100% off, and they actually wiped out almost all of our inventory. It really sucked. So now I always use exclusive, so that cannot happen. You have to click Customize Messaging, or you won't see this very important thing down here that says Display Page Detail, Page Display Text. Now, most of the time, people will turn that off. Let me tell you a little story. In October of 2016, so about a year ago, Amazon sent out an email to every Amazon seller, and they basically said you're no longer allowed to incentivize reviews. What that also said in that email, well, they gave a couple of examples of what incentivizing reviews meant. About a week later, they sent out an additional email that said, okay, now people are kind of playing games because they're figuring out ways to technically not incentivize people. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it even harder for you to get reviews. And if you're offering a deep discount, quote unquote, whatever they deem deep, and we still haven't figured out exactly what deep means because who knows, they change their rules all the time. If you offer a deep discount, you have to offer it to everybody on Amazon or it will not count as a verified purchase. All right, so let me open up Amazon and I'll show you what that means. So let's go to dog leashes, just as an example. I probably should have pulled this up beforehand, but that's okay. I'm going to click on this guy's listing, just as an example, because he's a bestseller. And he's probably doing a lot of things right, so I'm assuming that he's going to have some promos. If you scroll down on the listing, below the actual listing itself, below the bullet points, below the frequently bought together, below the sponsored, blah, 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 below all this stuff, you'll see there's a section that says special offers and product promotions. Now they've got these different tiers where if you save 15% if you buy this one plus something else, and save another 15 if you buy 2 or 3 or blah, blah, blah. If you add products, there's all these different promotions that they're currently running. This is called in order to set up a promotion like this that shows up on your listing, going back here, this checkbox has to be checked. That means the detail page display text is on. This is the detail page display text. In case you didn't know what that meant, that's what it is. If we uncheck that box, then what will happen is this promo code will still work. It's a regular group promo code, and you could publish that promo code on Facebook or to an email list, but it will not show up on the actual listing. Now, going back to that email from Amazon, they said if this promo is not offered to quote unquote everybody on Amazon, which means everyone that's on Amazon, then it won't count as a verified purchase. Now, what is a verified purchase? Well, let's just use these guys as an example. So see here it says verified purchase, right? If we just click on their 5-star reviews, I bet you they'll have some that are not verified purchases. Maybe they won't, I don't know. So I'm trying to find an example of one that, here's one that's not a verified purchase, all right? So it doesn't say verified purchase. So generally what that means is that this person who purchased that product purchased it at a deep discount or something else that triggered Amazon's algorithm to not let it count as a verified purchase. I'm not going to get into a whole thing about that, and please don't bombard me with questions, but the bottom line is we want verified purchases, right? It gives more credibility to those reviews. I want the reviews to stick, meaning they don't disappear in a week because Amazon deems them as not real reviews. I want them to be verified. So in order to make sure that the purchase is verified, per that email as of October of last year, 2016, it needs to be available to everyone. Now, some people might worry about if I put a 70% discount code on my listing, let's click back, use this as an example again. If it's showing up here where everybody can see it, what if someone buys all my inventory? Because, you know, someone could take that 70% off, even though it's one redemption per customer, there's no limit to how many units they can purchase, right? Well, we're going to protect your inventory too. But also, think about this. You're launching a brand new product, guys. Where is your product going to rank? Are you going to be on page 1 as soon as you launch that product? Of course not. You're trying to get to page 1. The whole purpose of this launch is to get to the top of page 1. You know, dog leash, for example, you want to get onto page 1, right? But when you first launch that product, you're probably on page like 30 or 40 or 110. So no one, how many people are going to see that promo? Going back here, how many people are actually going to see this promo that you set up if you're on page 110? Almost no one. But the people that do see it, you might make an organic sale here and there. The main point is that we want this display text on so it counts as a verified review. Okay, I'm done talking about that. So that's pretty much how we set it up. Okay, so just to kind of recap, you choose your product, you give 70% off, you choose an end date, you name the launch, you name the promo, right? It's an exclusive code, it's a group code, it's one redemption per customer. These are pretty much all preset. I think you have to choose group. You're going to copy that. That's going to be your claim code. Display text on, review, and by the way, 70% off. Why 70? Why not 71? Let me show you. And this is something I couldn't show in the presentation, but check this out. If I go to 71%, I don't have a problem giving 71% off, but look what happens when I click review. Oh, it's not doing it. Oh, that's why. Sorry, I don't know what happened right there. Let's try reviewing it now. Oh, look at that. Alert! The promotion you entered will result in a discount of greater than 70%. If this discount is correct, blah, 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 click submit. Submit. Why are they warning me about that? Isn't that weird? There's something about this 70% number. If you go over 70%, they're warning you that you're giving a quote-unquote deep discount. Which got me thinking, I wonder if 70% is kind of that cutoff point, where if you go above 70%, Amazon's algorithm counts it as a deep discount and the reviews won't stick. So just to be safe, that is the reason why I do not exceed 70% on an initial product launch. Okay? They don't give me a warning at 70, but they give it at 71 or 72 or 90 or anything above 70%. So just to be safe, and I don't want to mess with Amazon's algorithm, I want these reviews to stick. That's the max discount we're going to offer. We review it, make sure everything's good, and then we submit it. So that's how to set up the promo. All right, let's get on with the presentation. Jump back into here. So I've gone through all of this, and I'm taking a lot longer on this than I did on stage, which is the whole reason I'm filming this video. There was a lot of questions that I couldn't answer. I couldn't really explain it because I was rushing. So this is all just a recap of what I already talked to you about and showed you on Amazon. Now, the next step, whoops, I almost skipped one. The second step after you set up your promo, it takes 4 hours for that promotion to be live. While you're waiting for that promotion, you're going to protect your inventory by setting a max order on your listing. So that I'm sure there were plenty of you watching this video that were just scratching your head, kind of squirming in your chair thinking, I can't believe this idiot is putting a group promo code on his listing for 70% off. Someone can go buy all of his inventory. And I told you, yes, that's happened to me, and we have a solution to that. We don't want that to happen. So when you log into Seller Central and you go to inventory and then you choose your product and you edit that product, if you click on offer and then you scroll down, there is a little spot that a lot of people don't know about, and it's called max order quantity. And all you got to do is set that to 1 or 2 or 5, a low enough number where if somebody did find your group promo code on Amazon, if they were searching, they were using some phishing software and they found that, they could only purchase 1 or 2 or 3, whatever you set, number of units during the duration of that promotion. This is super important. If you don't do this, you could potentially put all of your inventory at risk. So I would never use a deep discount like that on my listing without protecting my inventory. And that's exactly what we're talking about. I set my max order quantity to 1 for the duration of my launch, and then I set it to and then I just delete it so there is no max. If someone wants to buy 10 or 20 units at full price normally, fine, go ahead. But I certainly don't want them to buy 10 or 20 units at 70% off and then go sell it on my listing or sell it on eBay or something like that. So that's the reason for setting the max order quantity. That's all you got to do. Put a number 1 in there and then save your listing, and now the number of units that anybody can buy is 1. And that includes organic. That has nothing to do with your promo. That's just anyone that goes to your product can only purchase 1. Now, little warning, that's 1 unit per order. So someone could technically purchase again and again and again, but we've already set up the promo so it's 1 redemption per customer. But, and we're being extra cautious here, right? Someone could, if a criminal were to use their criminal ways and they had like 100 dummy accounts, they could do 1 redemption per customer, 1 unit, and do it 100 times on 100 different accounts. And technically they could get 100 units at 70% off. But the chances of that happening are so slim. Most criminals are super lazy and they wouldn't go through all that work. But just in case they would, we're going to double protect our inventory. And we're going to do that by creating a fulfillment order. And we're going to reserve a good chunk of our inventory. Now, I'm not going to walk you through how to do this because I really don't want to go into my seller account and have to blur it out afterwards and walk you through all the steps, but it's super easy. You log into Seller Central, you go to your Manage Inventory page. That edit button on the far right-hand side of your product on the Manage Inventory page, if you click that drop-down menu, there's a button that says Create a Fulfillment Order. Just like if you were going to send an upset customer a replacement. Right? It's the same thing. Create a fulfillment order. Now, you fill out your own contact information up here. I know it's a little hard to see, but hopefully it's clear enough where you can see it. If not, tough. I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing my best here, guys. This is free training, so don't be too hard on me, right? I'm not getting paid for this. So the ship to address, you put in your own information. And let's say you had 500 units in stock and you wanted to reserve 400 units. So you're only giving away 100 units or 50 units. Whatever amount of inventory you want to protect, right? Obviously you don't want to protect all of it because A, you're giving away a bunch of them at 70% off, and B, you want to actually make some organic sales during this. So that's the whole point, is to make actual sales and make money. But you're going to protect an amount of inventory that you deem appropriate. I'm not going to give you a number. Don't ask me for a number. It's totally up to you, right? For us, it's usually like if we're launching 1,000 products, we're giving away 100, I'll reserve 800 units, right? So 100 for the launch and 100 for organic sales and 800 that I'm reserving, so that only shows 200 units live. Right? So worst case scenario, if someone got a hold of that promo code and found 100 friends to all buy 1 unit at 70% off, I would get really good ranking. That'd be awesome, actually. I wouldn't be upset about that because it comes from 100 seller accounts. I wouldn't get reviews from them. But if some criminal tried to scam me out of my inventory, worst case scenario is we would lose 200 units, which is not the end of the world. It would suck, but the chances of that happening are very low. But we protect 800 units as an example. So once you select the number of units you want to put in this reserve, you click Continue. And on the next page, you actually have this little option up here, and it's preset on Ship This Inventory. Again, this is creating fulfillment orders. So Amazon thinks you're going to send 800 units to some address, but no, do not do that. You've got to check the box that says hold this inventory for up to 2 weeks. And then you just click place order. Make sure you copy this order ID number because you're going to need to reference that later. And so once you click place order, immediately within a minute or two, maybe 15 minutes at most, Amazon reserves all that inventory. That means it no longer becomes available. Let me just make sure we're still recording. Yes, we are. I was just worried. And what if I'm talking and it's not recording? We're fine. So Amazon places, in this example, 800 units on reserve. It doesn't actually go anywhere. Nothing happens to it, but it's not available to purchase. So no one can steal it from you or whatever. Now, you don't have to cancel this order, but most likely you're going to want to because you're only going to run this promo for about a week or a few days, realistically a week. And this will hold this inventory for 2 weeks. So you're going to want that inventory to be live again and available for real purchases, organic purchases, after the promo launch is finished. So as soon as it's done, you take your order ID, which you have copied and pasted and saved somewhere. What I usually do is I'll just email myself and I'll say, you know, spirulina product launch, reserve hold order ID, blah, and then I can look in my email, find that, search. You would go up to orders, you go to advanced search, and you'd copy and paste that consumer blah 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 number in there, and it'll pull up this order, and you can just cancel it, and then that inventory goes back into your available inventory. So that's how you double protect your inventory. Pretty awesome. And by the way, we learned this back in ASM 3. This is not anything new. Let me take a deep breath, catch my breath, take a sip. Okay. Next step. Excuse me. Now is where the actual product launch begins. So all of this has been preparatory. It sounds like a lot of work. It's because I'm talking a lot, but I can bang all this stuff out in 15 minutes. Then we just have to wait 4 hours for that promo code to go live. So while the promo code, during that 4-hour period, while you're waiting for your promo code, what you're going to want to do is, so what we do is we have an email list, right? Now if you don't have an email list, then you can borrow someone else's list of customers. You can do this to friends or family list. You can do it to your own. I mean, everybody knows people, guys. If you don't know anyone and you're starting an Amazon business, then worst case scenario is you could do a Facebook ad or pay to use someone else's list. There are there are tons of Facebook groups out there, by the way, who are 100% legitimate, real Amazon shoppers like you and me, who happen to say, hey, I'm going to join this group. And they call it like a buy, sell, trade group or something like that. You know, I'm not going to name any names because I don't know if they're going to be around long term or whatever, but there's a bunch of Facebook groups out there. Ask around, network in your communities. If you're part of the ASM community, network in the ASM sellers group. If you're part of Brand Builder Bootcamp, network with that. Whatever group you're a part of, ask around for groups that you can launch a product to. There's tons of them. But we use our own email list that we've built over the last few years. And there's a whole training on our website about how to build an email list. We're not going to get into that now. Basically, package inserts, ebooks, and different things like that. We drive them to our website. They sign up for a mailing list, blah, blah, blah. So we've got this email list. And what we do is we create an email in MailChimp, and we do a blast to that list. And we let them know that we're launching this awesome new product at 70% off, but only for the first 25 customers. So hurry up and don't wait, right? Now, as they reply to that, we're going to send out the code. So we're not actually putting, and this is just some random example that I found, we're not actually putting the promo code in the email copy. Let me tab out of this, and I'm going to show you. I actually have MailChimp open. And I'm going to show you in my campaign builder. This is a real promo that we're actually doing. Actually, this isn't, but it's a real product that we're liquidating. So I don't care if you look at it. But we're using this as an example, right? So I'm not going to teach you how to use MailChimp, but essentially this is how we create our thing. So what we would do is we would choose in MailChimp. You're going to choose your list here, right? And then we're going to go to setup once we've chosen our list of people. And you're going to name your campaign. And then we're going to create an email subject line. And usually it's going to go product launch exclamation. We are giving away 25 at blah, blah, blah. That gets their attention. This is a seasoned group of people who expect to get discounts and product launches. And the reason I'm using only 25 units, you will see, I'm actually going to do more for the whole launch, but we're going to do a multi-launch launch, and I'll explain what that means. So this first email, we're only doing 25 units at 70% off. Then we're going to go to template, and it's going to ask you to choose a template. We have a saved template, and then we're going to go to design down here on the workflow. Again, I'm not going to really teach you how to use MailChimp. There's a million videos out there. So usually what we'll say up here is something like, we are so excited to launch our brand new Dynamic Chef Mandolin Slicer. To make this even more fun for you, we're giving away 25 units of these bad boys at 70% off. Reply to get yours. Something like that. We're creating scarcity. We're making it fun. Of course, we add a little humor in there. Chelsea hates this image. This is like literally some crappy iPhone image that I took like 3 years ago, or a couple of years ago, but whatever. I'm just using it as an example. For credibility, I'll throw in, the Prime logo, and obviously this image is blurry because it's not like very high res, but you get the idea. This is just an example. This is not a real email. Use high quality images, guys. Probably don't need to tell you that. And then the actual email body, the copy itself, hi there. Any chef will tell you that a kitchen is not complete without a quality mandolin slicer. So in true lifestyle dynamics fashion, we are launching our very own, and this bad boy means business. So we kind of make it fun and goofy and corny, right? This group of people, we know how to talk to our audience. And then in big, bold, blue text, I say the first 25 people to reply to this email will receive a 70% discount code. Notice how I'm not giving them the code in the email. I want them to reply, and you'll see why in a minute. So then I really like to do this. I find it very important because most people don't read all of the email copy, right? I mean, I know I don't. I usually just skim over it, and I'm like, tell me what to do, get to the point. So they'll usually read this part. When there's bulleted number 1, 2, 3, I find that people read that more. Like step 1, reply to this email. Step 2, if you are one of the first 25 to reply, we will email you back with the super secret Amazon promo code for 70% off. We're making them feel special. Once you receive the discount code, go to this link. So I'm going to link to it from this email anyway. So occasionally someone will actually buy it at full price. This is just a direct link to the product. I'm not going to actually click on it because you know what an Amazon listing looks like. That's just a direct link to the product. Okay? And then purchase the slicer using the code we sent you, and voila, 70% off. So really simple steps, and then I usually put something like not sure, like if people want more information about the product and they don't really want to reply, and even at 70% off, they well, what the hell is a mandolin slicer? I never heard of it before, right? Why would I want it? Here's a video to show you how it works. And then we'll usually link to an actual video, a how-to video, or if we don't have a how-to video, we can link to someone else's how-to video on YouTube. I don't care. This is my list of customers. They're going to buy my product, right? Or we can link to more ad copy that explains a bit more about what the product is. But for those people that don't care about reading about the product, they don't need to read all your sales pitch. They're just like, tell me what to do. That's what the first part's for. Then more explanation down here. Video format is great because it builds rapport. Then finally, we like to use this little part down at the bottom that says, why are we doing this? And this is for like new people that have joined our list recently and they're not used to us yet. Good word of mouth and positive reviews are what keeps our business ticking. As a small American family business, our customers are more important than anything. Please let us know if you need anything, we are here to help. Here's to holiday cooking fun, right? So we like to put personality in there. We like to explain why we're doing it. So I'm not asking them for a review, but I am kind of hinting that reviews are very important to our business. Okay? This is not an incentivized thing. This totally follows Amazon's terms of service. And then the last part is once I got that all set up, go to confirm, and I'll better not really click this, but we click the send button and it would go out to that list. So that is the first email. So let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation mode. There we go. So on the stage, I went over this whole slide in like 30 seconds, but I actually went through exactly how we do it. Now, once that email goes out to that list of 2, 3, 4, 5,000 customers, whatever it is, then they will start replying back almost immediately because the first 25 customers want that promo code. Now, this is where it gets important. As they reply back, we take that group promo code that we sent up and we individually mail those out. We don't send all 25 out immediately. What we'll usually do is on day number 1, so I've got like 50 or 60 emails in my inbox, right? Of course, we're gonna have our assistant do this, but initially when we started doing it, I did it all myself. It does take a little bit of legwork, but it's not that hard. So we get 50 or 60 emails in, and I will answer every single one, even with just a quick copy and paste. I usually, in Gmail, what I do, my little trick is you can create canned responses and just drop down and can response, or you can have a draft set up that you copy and paste. So whether they get a code or they weren't one of the first 25, I want to reply to everyone. Just say, hey, you didn't make it, but here's 10% off for, or we might launch a little bit more later, whatever. So, okay, so I'm going to reply to those first 25, and I'm going to have a script that basically says, it reiterates the steps. Hey, thank you, you're one of, congratulations, that's right. I say, congratulations, you're one of the first 25 customers or people to reply. So here's what you need to do. Number 1, go to our listing and there's a link. Number 2, use this coupon code, buy it at 70% off. Number 3, blah, blah, blah. And I walk them through the steps. And then at the last step usually explains to them that, we really appreciate any reviews you can leave on this product. Now what I will do is I will create a spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, sorry, my phone's blowing up. Let me shut it up. Go away. All right. In that spreadsheet, I'm just going to create a list of all of the customers that I've sent codes out to, and I'm going to copy their email address from these emails that I've gotten. Or if you're on Facebook, you could do, you could drive people to a landing page and get their email address that way. Or if you're doing it to a group, like I told you about, you don't want to pay for an ad, but you're launching to one of these groups. Instead of just putting the promo code in that group message or post, you would say, private message me for your code. And then you get all these private messages, and you can do the same thing. You can copy a link to their Facebook profile page and put it in a spreadsheet so that later on what you're going to do is you're going to follow up with those people and message them back or email them back, in my case, through Gmail, and say, hey, in case you haven't written your review yet, we'd really appreciate that. And that direct one-on-one communication between you and the customer, guys, you're going to get so many reviews out of this compared to just your follow-up sequence on Amazon, which a lot of people are opting out of nowadays. So this is how to get the most reviews out of all of this, is like really, control equals income. And the better you control this whole situation, you keep track of all those codes. Who are you sending the codes out to? You keep them on a list, and then you follow up with them in a week or 2. It's very, very effective. This is basically just saying you can do it in a Facebook group or a Facebook ad if you don't have a mailing list. Now, once you've made 25 to 50 sales, let's go back. So I'm not sending all these 25 codes out in one day. I'm going to do like 5 in day 1. And then the next day I might do 7. And then the next day after that I might do 8 or 9 or 10, and then whatever, right? So I'm trickling out those initial codes, and I'm ramping up slowly, but realistically, because what that tells Amazon's algorithm is you're driving traffic through this super URL, which I told you about, which of course the link that you're going to give them in your reply email is going to go through that super URL, right? So it's telling Amazon that people have searched for this product using a keyword, and it's going to be whatever keyword you really want to rank for. And it's going to tell Amazon that You are making consistent sales every day. If you just do 25 codes in one day and then 25 codes the next day, 20 or 100 codes all in one day, you're going to get a big spike in BSR, bestseller ranking, and then you're going to drop. And it's almost pointless. You just lost all that inventory, 100 units for nothing. So we don't want to do that. We want to ramp up slowly, 5, 7, 10, something like that. And that trickling of reviews, trickling of sales really helps with the keyword ranking. Once you've moved those 25 units, you're going to actually go cancel that promotion. You're going to go in there, you're going to go to advertising, and then it says manage my promotions, and then you're going to end that promotion. You end that promotion, and so that it no longer shows up on your listing. It takes, usually I think I don't know if it's 4 hours, maybe an hour, maybe 15 minutes. I forget how long it takes to end a promotion. But the point is I end a promotion. So you're like, but yeah, you've only moved 25 units. That's not going to get you on a page one. No, it isn't. But you end the promotion, and then here's where the magic starts, guys. Now you immediately repeat this exact same strategy with a slightly lower discount. Maybe 68 or 65% off instead of 70% off. You go back to your MailChimp, you duplicate that last promotion, that last email that you sent out to the exact same list, only it's a slightly different subject line, and mainly the message is changed. Wow, the first 25 units moved so fast. In case you missed out, we decided to give away 25 more at 65% off due to high demand. Don't miss out this time. Now that does a couple of different things. It acknowledges the people who acted quickly, the first 25 customers, and they got their 70% off. You wouldn't want to go do this again with 70% off, because that tells them that you lied. It wasn't the first 25 units. You're just going to give away more. So why did they rush? You don't want to do that. You don't want to invalidate your customers. You don't want to jeopardize their trust. So we offer a slightly lower discount. Okay, that's why I call this a multi-blast product launch. Same list, same email, just a slightly different change in the subject line and the email copy. In case you missed out, we're giving 25 more away, this time at a slightly lower discount, but it's still a really good deal. Next 25, get this promo code. And you do the exact same thing. And what I usually see is that more people reply the second time than the first time, because they don't want to miss out. And then you do that exact same process 1 or 2 more times for a total of 4 emails, or however many it takes to move. No, sorry, not however many it takes. Up to, but not exceeding 4. So 3 or 4 emails. Usually 4 will do it. 4 emails to move 100 units or 200 units, or however many number of units you need to move to get to page 1. Now, generally, we do 10% of our total inventory. So if we're launching with 1,000 units, we'll give away 100 units. Does that make sense? If we're launching with 200 units, if we're launching with 2,000 units, I've never given away 200, but I wouldn't go more than 10% because I'm a cheap bastard and I don't like to give away that much inventory. Some people are a lot more aggressive than me, and they probably make a lot more money than me. That's cool. If you want to be super aggressive and more risk, more reward, that's awesome. I'm not telling you to be like me. I'm just saying this is what we do. We have to live off this business. This business pays all of our bills, so I can't afford to give away all my inventory. That cash flow, I need that cash flow, and I need the money coming back. All right. So the importance of this, the important part of this whole sequence is you're creating urgency and scarcity, or your customers will not act. So you're saying, I have a limited number of units that we're giving away, and the first 25 people to reply, right? The magic is in the repetition, each with a slightly lesser offer, creating scarcity and time urgency. So again, this is a multi-blast launch. That's what I like to call it. Now that you've moved enough units, arbitrarily using 50 or 100 units, you follow up vigorously through your emails, right? So I talked about the auto emails. Obviously, those are just kind of like the automated follow-up emails that are going through Amazon manually if necessary, and ask for reviews. Keep a list. So that whole keep a list thing right here, I explain that a lot more on this video than I did on stage. And that's how you're going to get those reviews. Once you have 10 or so reviews, and this totally depends on your competition, how many reviews you need to be considered credible on page 1, but minimally 10, well, I'm not going to say minimally 10. Once you have enough reviews, at least a couple, right? But it's up to you based on your competition. Then you turn on your Amazon sponsored ads and you drive additional traffic. So this is just a screenshot of like a auto campaign. Okay. I would always start with an auto campaign. And by the way, I have a whole video on the very, very basic, like basic level of Amazon sponsored ads. But the main point is I wouldn't go turn on sponsored ads until I've properly optimized the listing, till I've properly launched the product using this sequence, and then once we get those reviews in, I want to drive traffic. I wouldn't want to drive traffic to a listing that has no reviews, right? Again, that's like going to an Italian restaurant that has no reviews on Yelp, no one's ever heard of it, but you're paying all this money to drive traffic. Like, let's get a couple of raving fans before we start paying all this ad spend. Occasionally you can use this strategy to boost a product that is starting to drop in ranking, or do another Facebook ad. And instead of doing group promo codes that are on your listing once you're starting to rank a little bit better, you can use single use codes instead of those group codes. The only reason we're using the group code is because we want to have verified purchases and we want those reviews to stick. But if you have a listing with a ton of reviews already, you don't need to worry about that. Just drive traffic, drive keyword ranking. In Amazing Selling Machine in module 6, actually, it's 6 or 7, they talk about how to do Facebook offers and different ads and stuff. Whew, this video is getting long, guys. I warned you. So in summary, choose a product that you really believe in that fits the ASM criteria. Do your keyword and market research. Really optimize that listing. Launch it with multiple decreasing deep discounts until you accumulate your first few reviews. I like to shoot for 10. Then you turn on your sponsored ads. Get to page 1 for your main keyword or keywords. Really deliver exceptional customer service. Really listen to what your customers tell you. Improve your products as needed. And then just repeat these steps over and over and over again until you're making enough money to delegate, outsource, and hire away all the stuff that you hate to do. At the beginning, you got to do everything because you need to understand how this business works. And you're an entrepreneur. You need to get your roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty. But then you need to start delegating and outsourcing once you're making decent money. And I wouldn't even think about outsourcing unless you're at least making $10,000 to $25,000 a month in gross sales. Then work on building it off of Amazon, traditional email marketing, other marketplaces, websites, your own Shopify website, whatever. But focus on Amazon to begin with. This is just for the when I was on stage. I did this whole thing in 20 minutes. And if you watch my presentation from stage, I think there's a recording. It was very rushed. I could talk for hours, and I normally do. If you want to see more SOPs, video standard operating procedures, check out our website. It's badassbusinessbuilders.org. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you probably found it on our website, so I don't need to say that. But that is the end of my presentation. I just want to say, in wrapping up this whole thing, when I did this presentation, I kind of got bombarded with a lot of questions. And, hey, will you check out my listing? Will you help me launch? Will you personally coach me? The answer is, unfortunately, at the time of filming this video, which is August of 2017, I'm not doing personal coaching. And that's just because we've got so much on our plates right now. And I can't afford all that time to personally coach many, many, many people. It's just whatever. So how we're giving back to the community is by filming these videos, by doing these presentations. We don't get paid for any of this stuff. We're doing it because we love you guys and we want to give back. If you do like the content that you see in our videos, the one thing that you can do to sort of help us out is, this is my only shameless plug that I'm going to give, right? If you go to badassbusinessbuilders.org, which you are probably already here, we need to update this, but there's a little tiny button up here that says swag. Most people don't know about it, which is probably why we're not selling any. And you can check out our swag shop. So we've got cool shirts like, do you even rank, bro? That's, you know, and little fun stuff like that. Amazon merch, right? Print on demand stuff. Anyway, that's my little shameless plug, and the prices will probably vary depending on where we're selling it. But anyway, that's my presentation on launching products. I hope you found this helpful, and check out the rest of our website, and we'll see you next time.